would also like to ask the town board members that supported the sale come together with the other two board members and support the committee in following the will of the people and not selling this property. I would also ask that the town board remove from consideration any sale of this property in the future. Thank you. And I think some of these questions were answered tonight by you people, which I think is an encouraging sign that we will move forward. It may not, I feel that like there are other ways to raise money. As Al well knows, the train station, I was personally involved in that. I'm an auctioneer by trade. They raised thousands and thousands of dollars at the train station. And Al knows, Glenn Clark knows very well. Glenn had 2 events at his property in Milton, and he also had one down by the river. And a lot of money was raised. And I'm not saying that that's the way that we should go, but that's a possibility. And I know if we did, I am an auctioneer, I'd volunteer my time. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in the town of Marlborough who would do the same. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Quimby.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
You sure you don't want to come back up here, Paul, and be a councilman again?
You guys are doing a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Mr.
Paul.
Woodward.
Take care, Paul.
Maybe they'll let you back in now, Paul, hopefully.
William Woodward again. First, I never saw 5 men argue so much about something that most of them are absolutely right about.
Right.
It surprised me sitting there watching you guys argue.
Discussing. I like to say discussing.
Yes. Number 1, you should have an idea what it's going to cost. Number 2, you should start the process to get the $250,000, start the paperwork going, and use the $250,000 towards the construction and renovation of the Tomback building. You shouldn't delay that, because I'm aware of how long it takes to get the paperwork moving through our process. The cost factor, that's another thing. It could go anywhere you want it to go. The cost could be as cheap as you want it to be or as expensive as you want it to be, depending on what you want to accomplish at the end results. I made some notes. I'm relatively familiar with the Tomback building. And a lot of this is redundant. I'll try to skip over that, okay? I call it a proposed Town of Marlborough Community Center, okay? I also think we can work with the existing town hall renovation plans with modifications and minor redesign without losing the original intent of the overall town hall design concept. In other words, use the plans that are on the computers, tweak those plans, eliminate the offices for now, work around the original town hall plans, because someday we may need that building for a town hall. And I heard tonight there's a problem with possibly where they have the planning board meetings. Be an excellent place to have the alternate planning board meetings once the assembly is brought up to standards. The engineering is still valid. I mean, the engineering on the original town hall plans, I think, was done when Tom Coupart was supervisor. Those plans are still valid, and they're still stamped, and they're still good. And I'd like you to really consider it. And Scott, you know a lot about this, that you could really consider massaging those plans to make those existing plans work for your purpose. The vote, there was a lot of merit to selling the building. A lot of merit to selling the building. There's also a lot of merit to keeping the building. The public voted. So we've got to honor what the public wants, in my opinion. And I think the board has to agree with that, okay? The building foundation and structure is sound. The roof seems good. And the site is complete with all the infrastructure, parking areas, water, and septic in place. That's a ton of money right there that's being saved. It doesn't have to be redone. The major expenses, in my opinion, would be bringing the facilities up to the ADA compliance. And the last time I reviewed it, I don't think it was revised since 1992. I think it's still the same.
It's George
And
H.W.
of
Bush.
course, the bathrooms would have to be totally redone, of course, to IDA specifications. And that can be done using most of the existing under-slab plumbing. Okay? The door openings, the ramps, et cetera, would have to be checked for ADA compliance. Another major expense would be the kitchen. Kitchen is an awfully expensive item, okay? The exhaust system, the fire eliminating system over the cooking areas, stove, that could be a very expensive item. However, there's a lot of restaurants going out of business. If the kitchen equipment and everything was kept out of the original construction, I'm sure with the expertise on this board, you could talk to some of these restaurants that are going out of business and buy their equipment for so many cents on the dollar. And I'm sorry to say that's happening. Some good restaurants are folding. The old vinyl asbestos floor tile that could be encapsulated by putting new tile over the old. Now, it is vinyl asbestos floor from what I understand, but it can be encapsulated. As far as the ceiling tiles go, they make ceiling tiles, fireproof ceiling tiles with hold-down clips. That would also mean encapsulating whatever there may or may not be above the ceiling as far as asbestos goes. So that's not a major expense if you don't want it to be. If you want it to be a big expense, they can get up there and start ripping things apart. That used to be a flat roof building. I think Ralph Weider was a contractor who put the pitched roof on, I think 4 and 12 pitch, 15, 20 years ago, if my memory serves me.
80s, 1980.
1980 was.
80 years ago.
No, 1980.
1980.
38 years.
This is what happens, you get
About
old.
30
Joe.
years.
When you get old, time just,
Yeah.
you don't know. Okay.
Time flies. It goes by
A
fast.
fire sprinkler, as somebody mentioned on the board, is no longer required because they changed the laws requiring fire sprinklers in places of assembly. So as long as you keep it under 300 and something and put your signs up, you're okay. You won't have to spend that kind of money. I would check out the existing HVAC system, that's a heating, ventilating, and air conditioning system, and get somebody to estimate repairs to bring it up to par. Central Hudson has a new program out, which they'll assist with the financing and paying of new lighting fixtures, modern fixtures, which should also be included.
Right on. We got that.
I didn't see any exposed asbestos when I looked around, but I didn't poke around with a ladder or anything like that. Okay. The existing glass entrance doors would have to be adjusted, repaired, or replaced. All the rest of the work, in my opinion, is mostly cosmetic. Cleaning, painting, resurfacing the exterior concrete. The ramp looks like it complies with ADA. I think it's a 7% or 7 feet to 100 foot requirement.
12 on 1.
12 on 1? Okay, so I think that ramp is adequate, and it's just been eaten up by salt and stuff. It might have to be resurfaced.
You're gonna have to zigzag it. 12 on, I think, it'd be close.
12 on 1 is 1 inch rise for 1 foot.
Oh, yeah, we should go for a foot
Save
now.
money.
Yeah, okay.
1 foot, 12 feet.
Yeah,
I think
that looks like a,
was one of the items that.
that looks like a 40, is that a 40-foot ramp with a 4-foot elevation?
It would have to be minimum of that.
Yeah, well, that's a 12
Well,
on
it would
1.
have to be more than that, actually.
Okay.
Close.
Okay, the building certainly is serviceable with those improvements. The 2 garage bays can be separated to use as, I would suggest, an exercise room or small classroom, okay, with 2 garage bays. The heating and air conditioning in those areas could be, if you want to save money, be done via modern ductless system through the wall with the compressors on the ground outside.
They
Okay.
have separate.
The building currently has income from the ambulance company. I would keep them there. That doesn't hurt anything. I would just have to section off that one bay if you're going to do it. Okay. The building can be used for adult driver's education classes, Unico, the Lions Club, veterans groups. and other service organizations. It can also be used for wintertime Republican and Democratic fundraisers and parties, meetings, etc., and the senior citizens could use the facilities. Traffic is a problem. I would suggest an adjustment in the highway speed limit and the policing of the area both from the north and south, which was covered earlier. Because that's a handicap for older people getting out on that traffic, and they do fly through that area there. I don't agree with a lot of things he said about improving the traffic flow through the town, believe me. Okay? A budget would have to be determined. You've got to have a budget. But you don't need a budget to start the preliminary paperwork for any grants. Okay? You can have an approximate budget or a rough estimate. Based on my experience building similar municipal projects, I would guess that a reasonable renovation price for 2019, 2020 construction could be in the $200,000 range, depending on what you decide and how elaborate you want to go. I wouldn't do much with the outside of the building except paint what's paintable. Parking lot looks good. Landscaping looks good. Grass looks good. What would be nice is to have some donations of things like a dumpster, some labor. I wouldn't mind talking to the fellas in Local 17 to volunteer some demolition labor as a practice and training thing. Okay? I mentioned used restaurant kitchen equipment, tables and chairs are readily available at greatly reduced costs. In summary, this could be a fine asset for the town and something every one of us to use and be proud of. I really don't think delaying this project is to anybody's advantage. I do agree with every one of you on the town board with your arguments. Okay? We have an existing engineer. I'm not sure who did the original plans, but they should be utilized. We paid for them. Many times we paid for redesign, rather than hire new engineers or architects and everything. I know these engineers, they use the CAD system now. It's all there. All they got to do is massage a little bit, move things around to get your plans. Okay? Once we get preliminary plans, you can get estimates from any reliable contractor. Okay? And most of the contract work, or if not all of the contract work, has to be done with prevailing wage. Keep that in mind. That may run your budget up a little bit. Okay? But we also have a lot of Local 17 people in the town of Marlborough. You might get some good volunteers out of this group. A lot of good people in the town. The building is certainly worth more money than what was advertised. There's no question about it. I know I'm still involved in commercial and industrial construction. I still own real estate. I know to buy 3 acres and put the infrastructure in, paving, sewer, water, gas lines, you're going to run $120,000, $150,000 an acre. That's just a fact of life. But the public voted. Town owns the building. We should live with it, fix it up, and expedite the process. That's my opinion. As far as insurance goes, I don't know whether the town could have the liability and property insurance on the building if that's feasible.
We do. We already have
do.
that, but that's a different subject. We'll take care of the.
Yeah, okay. And the people that use the building have to
Right.
provide
Yeah.
a certificate of
Right.
insurance. That's just a fact of life now.
Yep.
Everybody sues you. Okay. Gentlemen, I don't know what else to say. Anybody have any questions for me?
No, so basically, I'm in agreement with you about the preliminary, but the board isn't, so.
The board is right, Al. You got to know where the costs are going to be, but you don't have to know that in order to apply for the $250,000.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Well, I think you do if the grant's a recreational grant and everything you're mentioning.
No, it's a reconstruction of a building.
All right, so it's not a recreational.
No, it isn't a recreation.
It actually does say recreation right in the actual letter.
Because again, this is is a community center, the grant is no good. As far as
Capital costs associated with reconstruction
Okay,
of
I'm not
community
familiar
center,
with the
community
terms
recreational center. Community recreational center.
But I know we did Riverview Drive. The town got involved and we issued a 15-year bond, which the people along Riverview Drive are paying for in their taxes, a bond issue. So there's got to be some way to start the paperwork, because that, I think, is going to be your biggest delay, getting the paperwork going. And there's got to be some way to word it, you know. Even if you use the words $250,000 towards the construction and rehabilitation of the building.
It actually has
Well, you gotta
where you
have-
could break it down, just like the other different member items where you come up with the 250 and then you add some volunteer work. So basically, you know, sorry, Bill, but we've gone over that. And the board decides that they don't want to do the preliminary. They want real numbers or thereabouts, what we're actually going to do with the community center.
Well, the board can change that, Alan. That's
but,
not cast in stone at this point. You got some very smart people. I mentioned that before.
You know,
okay?
I wish I
You
could
got
change
Scott
their
Cochran
minds,
over
but
there.
I...
Scott's a very smart person. Utilize him and get this thing moving. Work with him. Work with Alan. Alan has a lot to do. He's a businessman. Work with him.
We're going to work together.
Mr. Molina.
We're gonna work together, don't
Mr.
worry.
Baker.
We're gonna expedite this. We're gonna
I
do it.
mean, I saw you guys arguing. That's
That's-
BS.
This is mild.
That's all right. That's mild.
That's BS. And I'll tell you something. It's embarrassing to see the people I
No, we're
voted
not
for argue with each other.
We're not arguing, we're just disagreeing.
We rarely.
Actually, you caught us on a good day.
But what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. It's the same thing I'm trying to say, but I think the board has voted. They want to form a committee, have that committee meet and expedite this, and whatever comes out of that committee as far as what they would like to see concerning the building, then the supervisor would proceed with the $250,000 member item and write the grant.
But you gotta be careful on the soft costs. But look how many times
That's,
engineered and
I've
designed
been,
that building.
I've been trying to explain that to the board, but the whole thing is, the preliminary is just the beginning, and then as you know, with member items, it becomes more and more detail. And before even the contract's signed, you have legal and other things, other people looking at it. So I wanted to start that process. The board doesn't want to start that process, so we'll start the process of forming a committee.
Well, Al, on that, I agree with you. That
I'm
process-
glad you're not on the board, but
That process can take a year.
it takes a year.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
Well, I appreciate your support.
I'll sit down.
Okay.
Past my bedtime anyway.
Paul, would you like to be on the committee?
As long as I don't have to do any physical.
No physical work.
And people don't mind me being blunt.
No.
That's good. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure you don't want to come back up here too?
James?
Yeah, all these
Just to be on the board.
guys. Yeah. Is he on the train?
I'll try to be very short. I think it's a
Great.
good idea when members of the board have different opinions, because through different opinions, you can come through a consensus, and hopefully that's a better product that will develop. I hope that in developing a committee, that you will go out and you will survey the community to see what they want. Now, I did not understand before that the grant was for a recreation community
It's
center?
not a grant, it's a member item.
Member item, okay, that the member item is for a recreation community recreation center.
Yeah, it's...
So
yeah.
that may limit you to what you can have in the building.
It says on it, reconstruction of a facility.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jim.
Anybody else? Yes, Arlene. Come on up. How you doing today? Good, good.
I sent most of my thoughts in an email, and thank you, Howard, for answering and for sharing it with the board. I just have a question about this money. If we use it on this building and then down the road, are we always have to keep the building? Can it be sold down the road? Does this lock us into keeping this building forever?
So
or do we
when you
not know?
when you have a member item and you're spending taxpayers' money, you probably have to keep it for at least 20 years.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can it be converted to a town hall?
It could be converted to anything. It's our building, but I don't think we want to do that. It's for reconstruction of, yeah. Yeah, for the 250,000.
So that's the,
Yeah.
that's the first I heard that you said that, Al. Because I asked this question, I think, multiple times in emails myself, actually, about if we take this money and use it on this building, now you're saying we couldn't do anything else with the building? Is it kind of like a Parks and Rec, or like,
No, it's our building.
right?
Couldn't
Do
sell
anything
it.
you want to do with the building, but she asked if we could sell it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, so a future board, not say our board, a future board decides they want to do something and sell it, they couldn't do it now.
I believe they cannot if it's a member item. It's the same with the parks.
Well, that's what I was asking. I asked that in my note. I never, can we get like something in writing from someone that states how and what can and can't be done like in the future? I mean, I
I think we could do anything. I think we could do anything with the building about the sale of the building. I believe you can't sell it, but I could look into that. I'm pretty sure it's a
Yeah, I
time
mean-
limit type of thing.
that would be nice just to have, I mean, not just necessarily for us.
For the future.
But a future board that says maybe they have different plans. I don't think anybody
Well,
would, but.
I'm going to call tomorrow because evidently things didn't go my way here about doing the preliminary. So I'll call Victor from that
Yep.
and see exactly what goes down, and I'll inform the board about that, what his, me asking the question about the sale of it, and also how make sure that we don't lose the grant because of time sensitive.
That would be great.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
You can't leave, Manny.
Come on, man, we're almost there.
Almost there, man.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for all the input. And so would you suggest, board, that I come up with a couple of names, everybody come up with a couple of names, and we form this committee at the next meeting? So this we expedite
I agree.
the process.
Sounds good.
Yep.
I mean, I agree with that, but are we going to actually have it open to anybody in the public?
When you have a committee, it's
have a
open to
public hearing,
public
I would
anyhow. It's all. The committee, when you form a committee, all the public could actually attend the meeting, but hopefully they wouldn't delay the meeting, and there would be a time just like here if they want to say something.
It's
Okay.
usually not a problem.
All the committees, everybody's welcome. It's open committee, the rec committee, any meeting, anytime. So it's all for the public. It's all transparent. Al? Alan?
What?
I'd like to go home now.
We have to vote on resolutions.
Oh, resolution.
I mean, I can adjourn if you want.
You didn't do any
I'm ready to go home too.
I'm so tired. Okay, here we go. Thank you.
Thank you for all your input.
Okay, resolution 85 to approve the release of maintenance bond, and this is for whereas therefore Anthony M. Pascal offers certain roads and public improvement located in the town of Marlborough for dedication and acceptance by the town board known as Pascal's Place, and whereas the town board required an improvement maintenance bond secured by a letter of credit. Okay, guys. In favor of the town in the amount of $5,000, and whereas on November 20th, 2017, Key Bank insured reversible letter to the credit, blah, 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 in favor of the town of Marlborough in the amount of $5,000 secured by the deposit of Richard A. Gerentine, and whereas the accepted improvement have been maintained for the requested period, the above letter of credit may be canceled. Now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby approves the release of the above said key bank letter of credit in the amount of $5,000 and directs that the same be canceled and returned to Richard A. Gerantine, and moves for its adoption.
Money back.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. Oh, I didn't know what I did on the touch screen. I'm really getting there.
I know.
Okay.
He's touching it.
86, Resolution 86 is to appoint an Ethics Board member. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Whereas the town of Marlborough had adopted a code of ethics in 2009, and whereas the code states the town needs a board composed of 5 members appointed by the town board, and whereas an advertisement was placed in the local paper for 2 open positions on the ethics board, and whereas Malcolm Hall wishes to continue serving on the board, and whereas it is recommended, the recommendation of the Ethics Committee to appoint Michael Hall, be it resolved that Michael Hall be appointed to the Ethics Board, and be it further resolved that his term will end 12/31/21, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes.
So we still have an opening then, right? Yes.
Yes, for chairman. I was going to talk to Dave to see if the gentleman that replaced Mr. Blue. I didn't have a chance. So Resolution 87 to reappoint zoning board members. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas the advertisement was placed in the school local newspaper for 2 open positions on the zoning board, and whereas the town did not receive any new letters of interest, and whereas Dave Zambito and Leonard Cohn wish to remain on the zoning board, be resolved that Dave Zambito and Leonard Cohn be reappointed to the town zoning board with a term date ending December the 31st, 2013.
2023.
2023, sorry. It moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
I'm tired.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. Okay, so I'm not going to read Resolution 88. You just heard about the 9W Corridor Management Plan. This is a resolution for the town to accept that plan, so this way we could go in front of DOT, showing that the board is approval of the plan, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you. Resolution 89 to appoint a part-time dispatcher. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Whereas the Police Committee has interviewed for the position of part-time dispatcher, and whereas it is the recommendation of the Police Committee, as well as the Chief of Police, to appoint Ryan Greven as part-time dispatcher. Now therefore be resolved that Ryan Greven be appointed effective immediately. And moves to poll the board.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes,
I have one more question.
sure.
I guess there's some uncertainty that the reorg meeting is going to be on January 10th. Isn't it going to be on January 10th on Thursday at 7?
Yes. A
Yes.
special election for the reorg?
Yeah, a special meeting for the reorg?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because of payroll?
Payroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
I
the
know there was a lot
emails
of
went
back
on
and
that one
forth,
too.
but-
Our next meeting is January 10th then, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, that's
we
just
have
for the
a
reorg.
special meeting for the reorg, I think is 7th?
It's a Thursday on the 10th at 7.
When's a Monday that we're going to have the first meeting in December?
No, January, because December's canceled because of the
I mean in
holiday.
January.
So that would be, what, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th.
Yeah, so that's why
But
the
the
meeting,
payroll falls before that.
the 10th and the 14th.
Why don't we just have a regular meeting?
I'm getting confused
Can you
myself.
have, are we gonna have you wanna have a regular meeting on the Thursday, or you wanna just?
No, we're just going to have a meeting, a special meeting
Right,
with
for
the reorg.
That's
That's
what I
gonna be
thought.
upstairs.
Yeah.
That'll be a quick one. Yeah, that's the
Just the reorg.
fees.
Correct.
Okay,
Just
I
the
just wanted
reorg.
to clarify, because
And it
people
will,
have been,
it will
Just
be-
the reorg.
And it will be upstairs, right?
okay,
It's a Thursday?
Yes.
Thursday night.
So I don't know if the school board's down here. If they're not here, then we'll do it down here. If not, we'll do it upstairs.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll advertise wherever, we'll figure out where it's gonna be.
Decision on the planning board member by that time.
Yes, correct.
As I saw your
Oh,
recommendation.
okay.
Suggestion's a good idea.
Yeah.
You had the interviews today,
Yep. We'll do that.
okay,
Yeah, what you think your suggestion's a good idea.
okay,
Okay?
all right, so let's.
Okay. Yes, I am getting tired.
Second.
Alan, is it time now?
It's time
It's
now.
time. I make a motion to adjourn.
And I second.